What lurks in the shadows of the countryside? Sometimes the most chilling tales come from the places we least expect. These aren't campfire stories. These are first-hand accounts that defy explanation. Tonight, we delve into 3 true stories of rural horror, where ordinary landscapes become stages for the uncanny. Prepare to question what you think you know about the world beyond the city limits. Our first story comes from Croatia in the summer of 2018. A 13-year-old and her friend were walking home from town one evening. The sun had set, and the only light came from their phone screens. They were on the main road leading back to their small village. It was a 15-minute walk, a familiar route, or so they thought. But then, they both felt it. A presence behind them, something gaining on them from the right. Felt like pursuit, like a predator closing in. They ran, turning their heads just enough to catch a glimpse of the thing that was stalking them. It resembled a small, emaciated dog, but what rested on its shoulders wasn't canine. It was either a human head or a baby doll's head. The witness couldn't tell which. The head was positioned oddly, tilted partially toward the road, partially toward them. The eyes, however, were the most disturbing part. Empty, lifeless voids. They sprinted, adrenaline coursing through their veins, until they were nearly out of breath. They finally stopped, but the image of that creature was burned into their minds. Both were avid fans of the supernatural. They watched ghost shows and read creepy stories online, so terror mixed with morbid curiosity. They confirmed they had seen the same thing. A gaunt, dog-like creature with a human or doll's head. The memory faded over time. However, a recent discovery on social media dredged it all back up. The witness stumbled across a photograph in a slideshow of creepy images. The caption read, "I noticed something strange in a photo I took last winter around 3 a.m. It appears there's a man crawling in the middle of the road." The witness stared at the photo, trying to discern what was so unsettling about it. Took a moment, but then the blood ran cold. Zooming in, the figure looked exactly like the creature they had encountered that night near the train tracks. The same bizarre proportions, the same unsettling aura. The memory flooded back with every detail, every sensation. It was as if she was once again a terrified child running down that dark road. To this day, the witness has found no explanation for what they saw. It wasn't a known creature from Slavic folklore or mythology. It defied any logical explanation. Our second story takes us to a small island in the Caribbean. A young skeptic learns that some legends are rooted in chilling reality. Growing up, the storyteller heard countless scary stories from family and locals. One such tale involved creatures dwelling deep within the forests. These beings were small, resembling children from a distance, but their feet were on backwards. Their heels pointed forward, their toes pointed back. The elders warned that these creatures lured children into the woods. Because of their reversed feet, their footprints always appeared to lead in the opposite direction. Someone might see the prints leading into the forest and assume a child was lost. Following the tracks, they'd walk straight into the creature's trap. These entities, known as Dwen, supposedly only appeared at dusk, as the sun began to fade. This was usually the time parents called their children inside. One evening, around the age of 7, the storyteller was visiting cousins in the countryside. It was supposed to be a fun sleepover, but something sinister lurked nearby. Always drawn to science and logic, The storyteller dismissed supernatural tales as mere stories to scare children. The cousins, however, believed every word. A visiting family friend, a girl of 10, sparked a newfound interest in outdoor games. The storyteller wanted to impress her, so set aside their Nintendo DS. As they played hide-and-seek and tag, the sun began to set. The property was vast, with trees, bushes, and an old wooden shed. Beyond the shed lay a dense forest, one that the storyteller's uncle had forbidden them from entering after dark. "You go in there after sunset," he warned. "You'll get lost, and we may never find you." The older cousin and the visiting girl saw an opportunity to tease the storyteller, a city kid unfamiliar with country legends. They whispered tales of the Dwen. According to the legend, the Dwen were the spirits of children who died before being baptized. Trapped in the forest, they were filled with anger and loneliness. They preyed on disobedient children, who wandered off when they shouldn't have, luring them into the woods, never to be seen again. The storyteller tried to appear unfazed, but the story got under their skin. Refusing to show fear, they scoffed. "Those are just stories parents make up. Ghosts aren't real. There's always a logical explanation." They continued playing until their uncle called them in for the night. Walking across the yard, the storyteller noticed a small figure standing near the edge of the woods. Assuming it was one of the younger cousins, they called out, but there was no response. The figure remained motionless and silent. Impatient, the uncle called again, thinking the figure was just being stubborn. The storyteller shrugged and continued toward the house. As they walked, they heard footsteps behind them. Assuming it was the cousin following, they didn't bother to look back. Reaching the porch, the storyteller saw their uncle, the visiting girl, and all 4 cousins. If everyone was accounted for, who had been standing by the woods, and more importantly, who was walking behind them? They spun around, but the yard was empty. Then, they saw them. Small footprints in the dirt. The footprints led from the edge of the woods, following their exact path across the yard. The uncle's face grew stern. The older girl grabbed the storyteller's hand. A chill ran down the storyteller's spine. All the bravado about ghosts not being real vanished. The uncle ushered them inside, locking the doors. They stayed indoors until the storyteller's parents arrived the next day. Relief washed over them as they left, never revealing what had happened. Years later, the storyteller spoke to their older cousin who remembered the event vividly. He also shared something else. Years ago, children often went missing in those woods. His father believed those missing children became the Dwen, the spirits trapped in the forest. Our final tale comes from the depths of the countryside. This encounter defies easy categorization. The storyteller grew up in a rural area. Over the years, they witnessed unexplainable things. One incident occurred while walking through the woods behind their house. There was a hunting trail the storyteller often frequented. It snaked through the trees to a small lake with an abandoned cabin. The storyteller had been there many times, without incident. Near the end of the trail, just before reaching the cabin, the dense forest opened into a clearing. The storyteller stepped out of the trees and immediately noticed something in the distance. It looked like a large boulder, just lying there. It was strange, because the storyteller had never seen any rocks in that clearing before. Standing there, staring at it, they began to walk towards it. Something felt off. The closer they got, the stranger it became. The rock wasn't still. It was moving, not fast, but swaying gently, shifting its weight from side to side. Then, the storyteller's blood ran cold. This wasn't a rock at all. It was something massive, hunched over, close to the ground, as if trying to remain hidden. As soon as that thought entered the storyteller's mind, The thing turned its head toward them, as if it knew. The precise moment they realized what it was, they could see its head clearly now. A massive head. The face was too far away, or perhaps too dark, to make out any details. They couldn't see eyes or a nose or anything like that, but they could see its hair. Long, red hair that fell down, and a thick red beard that reached its chest. The top of its head was completely bald. A smooth, bare patch surrounded by all that red hair. The thing was wearing clothes, actual clothes, making it even more unsettling. They were gray-blue, tattered and hanging loosely on its body. The fabric looked old and weathered, as if it had been through hell. The storyteller turned and ran, faster than they had ever run before. They tried to tell their mother, but the words came out jumbled and nonsensical. Their mother dismissed it, assuming they had just startled a bear or something. Years later, they retold the story with a clearer head, but she still didn't believe them. She insisted they were misremembering, that their mind had filled in the gaps over time. But they knew exactly what they had seen that day. A hunched, red-haired figure lurking in the woods. A memory that continues to haunt their dreams. This next story comes from the logging roads of the Pacific Northwest. A forestry worker, we'll call him Mark, was driving back from a remote site late one October evening. The road was gravel, unlit, and his headlights were the only thing cutting through the absolute darkness. For miles, there was nothing but trees and the sound of his engine. That's when he saw it. Up ahead, caught in the high beams, was an animal on the side of the road. He slowed his truck, thinking it was a deer. Maybe it had been hit. He felt a pang of pity and rolled his window down, peering into the night. The animal was just lying there. But as he got closer, maybe 50 feet away, that feeling of pity turned into ice-cold, primal fear. The deer was on the road, but it wasn't lying right. Its limbs were splayed at angles that seemed impossible. Too many joints, bending the wrong way. Mark stopped the truck. The engine idled, and in the total silence of the woods, the thing, slowly, stood up. It wasn't a deer, or if it was wrong, terribly wrong. It rose onto its hind legs, but they were jointed like a bird's, backwards. It was tall, 7, maybe 8 feet tall. Its front legs dangled, almost like arms, too long for its body. And its head slowly turned and stared right at him. Mark said the eyes didn't reflect the light like a normal animal's. They just absorbed it. They were dark, and they looked knowing, intelligent. He slammed the truck into reverse, the tires spinning on the gravel. But the thing moved. It didn't run like a deer. Scuttled sideways, its head still locked onto the cab of his truck. It moved with an unnatural speed, keeping pace with the reversing truck, before vanishing, instantly, back into the blackness of the trees. He threw the truck into drive and sped away, not looking back until he hit the main highway. He later asked some of the old-timers at the logging camp. They just looked at him and told him, "There are things in those woods, son. Things that watch. And things that mimic. They try to look like something you know, until it's too late." Mark never drove that road alone at night, ever again. These stories remind us that the unknown lurks in every corner of the world. Sometimes, the most terrifying encounters occur far from the city lights. What do you make of these chilling tales? Could there be something out there beyond our understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read everything, Subscribe for more unsettling stories every week.